Is it time to perhaps have some form of regulation in this?
So I think there's one element which does relate to regulation. So for example, over half of the countries that we cover have on their laws and their policies a need for pay parity. But at the same time, only 1/5 of them actually put in place transparency measures and enforcement mechanisms. So there is some element of that. But there is another piece too, which is starting to put in place very different practices in workplaces, trying to ensure that there's a wider care economy available that is frankly an investment for most countries because it's such a big job creator. So there's a number of things that are not just about top-down regulation that are really win-wins for everybody involved.
Let's talk about the impact of an election year as well, and what that's said to, or you anticipate will do ultimately to the entire conversation around gender disparity.
Yeah. So this year and next year combined, there have been and will be about 3 billion people that have participated in some form of local or national election. And at the present moment, when it comes to local government, there's about 35% women in those positions. When it comes to parliamentary positions, we're looking at an all-time high of 33%. And then when it comes to ministerial positions, 25%. And when it comes to heads of state over the last 50 years, less than 15%. So very similar to how various industries are structured, there is this vertical gap that continues in political leadership levels. And of course, when so many people are going to polls around the world and there's so much changing in political systems, there's an opportunity here to leap forward.
Saadia, it's interesting, isn't it, when it comes to perspective, because it feels like there are more women than before in politics, but they're not necessarily in the top job. And it feels like that in the business world too. We've got more women in the C-suite than ever before, but not as CEO. What is that gap when it comes to giving women that top job? What is holding women back?
Yeah, so there appears to have been some level of dynamism, some rise in terms of women in leadership positions that hit the all-time high of 37.5% in terms of women in the top job in businesses back in 2022. But again, it's on the decline, and that seems to be associated with the economic slowdown. When there is that slowdown, there seems to be less willingness, perhaps, to place women into some of those top jobs. And at a very macro level, this comes down to ensuring that there are good care systems so that that drop to the top from entry level to C-suite doesn't happen. But in addition, of course, it requires that businesses and employers actually put in place very transparent systems around promotion and retention, not just at the recruitment level.